What do you, I mean, so not mine, but on Tessa's pony, because it just, we use tendon boots. Do you use any boots or do you not use boots in general? Or do you put clay on them afterwards, like when you show jump, you don't?
Yeah, I mean,
we tend to stick clay on afterwards. It depends on the horse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And boots is always a difficult one, because if you've got a horse that doesn't move entirely straight and does tend to sort of brush themselves,
Yes.
then you're weighing up whether you're going to do more damage having the boots on, or whether
Yes.
you're going to do more damage having the boots off, and then they clonk themselves.
Yes.
So it's very much a personal thing.
Yes.
What I tend to, I mean, so my guy when I started out with it,
Yes.
he was getting over a ligament problem because he'd had a bit of a splint bone removed and his leg was a bit knackered. And he's always been left with, he dishes with one foreleg. So if he's doing a lot of cantering,
yes.
he will scab bits out of his fetlocks. So what I tended to do with him, because he couldn't tolerate boots either,
Yes.
I would just put some little fetlock boots on him.
Yes.
So it was the very minimalist
Yes.
boots I could have to protect the little bit that
Yes.
he used to knock himself
Yes.
on. And that sort of did
That
it.
was it enough.
So it's just sort of working out what works
Yes.
for your own individual horse.
And do you feel, I know it's but I'm not, but do you, sometimes you feel their legs are slightly warm for a while? With a bit of, well, I suppose it's hot anyway and we just put some sort of cooling gel there, I didn't know what else to do and I thought, well, it's a
You can buy cooling boots, you know, that you soak.
Oh, yes.
And put them on
yes.
after a ride.
Yes.
That's quite, they seem to appreciate that.
but you will see on race rides, like
Yes.
at the delegate, you'll see horses with a foot in 4 buckets.
In full bucket, yes.
Just
Yes, to cool.
yeah.
Yes.
And it can be even a bucket of ice, you
Yes.
know, just to take the heat out of the joint.
A bottle cooler.
Yes.
When you're cooling a horse down, I've seen things about ice water. Should it be really cold water or should it be just tap water? Presumably nothing that's warmed up in the car, but
we never have. We've never used it. Well, I say we never have. We did at Ludlow that year when it hit 100 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, some people have got the means of actually having ice water. Most people have not, and you just go for pouring copious amounts of water over the horse. But I mean, when you feel it under their bellies, it is really warm. Really warm.
Yes.
So I mean, it's just a case of getting lots and lots on until they feel you can't feel the
pour
heat
it on
coming
and then
through.
scrape it off and then put more on. If you put water on and then water on top of that, you're not being as effective. So you put water on, that warms up from the heat from the horse. You scrape that, you're scraping that away, you're scraping that heat away. Then you put more water on. But
you go through a lot of water.
You can do, yeah.
Do you still walk your horses in the vet gate while you're pulling them? Because that used to be the thing, but it's a long time since then.
Sometimes if they're not dropping like they should, you can cool, then just take them for a little walk, and sometimes that sort of shifts the log jam. You know, it's just sometimes you find they don't relax as quick as you expect.
Sometimes they get too cold as well.
That's right.
And it's a very fine balance.
But you can usually feel whether they need actual cooling, because if there's a cool breeze, quite often you don't actually need to cool them at all. So you have to watch them that they don't. You know, you can very quickly go from cooling them to actually needing a blanket on, you know, a lightweight rug on the back.
Yeah, because I mean, our little grey Reese, you know, he can't tolerate a lot of water on him, even on a hot day. You know, he does his desert Arab thing, he doesn't need cooling off. And if you put too much on him, it'll just make him really grumpy, and then, you know, yeah, pulse will start coming up. Whereas the little half cobbler I used to ride for Alison, there was not enough water in the world, you know. The way we cracked it with him was to, before we set off, we'd fill up an entire dustbin next to the wagon. Yes. And basically the minute he came in, buckets on him. And what we found with him was that his pulse would drop very quickly because he was quite fit. But if you took your eye off him, he'd start cooking himself and his pulse would rise again. So it was a question of getting it down and keeping it down. Yes. And that was, you know, that was the knack. But once we'd got it, you know, he was getting sort of grade 1 pulses, which was unheard of for him.
So you actually wait till the heartbeat goes, heart rate goes down, and you then present it to the vet?
Yeah.
64 beats.
64 beats, yes.
So below. You've got to know your horse.
Yes.
You've got to know your horse.
Yes.
I mean, if you're here,
Yes.
say that that's where the toilet is behind.
Yes.
you've got to know that if you walk from here to there, the
Yes.
horse's heart rate might drop 2, 3, 4
Yes.
beats.
Mm.
So if it's like 68, 70,
Yes.
you think, right, we'll walk.
A bit and try and, yes.
And then by the time you get there, it'll be there. You've got to know your horse.
Mm.
And it depends on how much of a gambler you are as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, as well as that, what Jenny said, the rug, that's the other thing a crew's got to do. It's not only taking water to cool
Yes.
down, but also having rugs at the back
Just-
of it to
yeah.
walk
Yes.
them on, because the weather turns and it starts
Yes.
to throw it down rain or it's really cold, and then they might need warming up, so they don't need cooling down.
You've got to keep
You know,
the
you've got to
muscles
keep-
warm because you're going to be setting off in a short
So you
time.
need to, it's that balance the whole time. You've got to have everything with you. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Just-
a rug for every occasion, really,
Yeah.
what you might come
Yes.
across.
And likewise again with the little half cob, if it was tipping it down and everything else was stood there shivering in the vet gate and
He's
they
fine.
couldn't find
Fine.
him, he would be the one that would be walking into the vet within 30 seconds.
It's knowing your horse, and you only get to know your horse
Mm.
from the small distances.
Yes.
Once you've got that name built up, and
Yes.
you're getting a relationship with the horse, and once you've got a relationship with the horse, you know it's going to react and respond to different things, to different elements.
You think you do?
Well,
So you, I suppose you also
you think,
take into account the weather, the humidity,
That's
or something.
right.
So if it's a very
Yeah.
humid day, you know
Yeah.
they're going to be, well, especially in Buckingham.
yeah, it's knowing the horse
Yes.
and treating the horse according to the conditions, and also the terrain that you're riding
Yes.
on, you know, because some terrains, you know, are slower terrains, if
Yes.
they're very steep and what have you, and some are very flat, and so they're,
Yes.
you know, really country, you know. And it's that pace comes from that terrain riding,
Yes.
you've got to get to
So
grips
do you
with.
guys canter as well on the longer distances?
Mm. Yeah.
A mixture.
Yeah, mixture.
A mixture.
That's good, because you're mixing the horse up, so he's using
Yes.
all different paces, and
Yes.
so it's better for the horse rather than doing exactly the same thing
Yes.
all the time. And similarly, if you're on one rein, you know,
Yes.
change over
Into
on
the
the
other.
other rein.
So how do you time yourself per, do you have some idea where you get on your map and time yourself and say, well, that's, I'm going okay time-wise?
If you're going to go preparation-wise, really,
Yes.
you should study the map,
Yes.
Jenny, and to know,
Yes.
you know, where you're going, where it's going.
Yes.
You know. Look at the...
Yeah, you look at the,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
little
to
graded
see,
lines,
you know, where
yes.
it's going, and think, well, that part's going to be a pretty slow part, but around here is around the lake, and it's looks nice and grassy, and you can make the time up there.
Yes.
So you can kind of say by the time you get to checkpoint one, it should be, you know, and that's what you should be doing
Yes.
in your own mind
When
before
you
you
start,
Yes.
you really
So
do
literally
work out how long
working
it
out.
should take you to get
Yes.
to certain points so that you can get in your mind that when he's doing that pace, you're going at that speed,
Yes.
you know, so that you get a feel for it. I mean, it's a lot easier now that they've invented the GPS systems, you know, so that you just look and see how fast he's going.
Yes.
But, you know, it's a good exercise for you to, you know, really do your homework and work out how long you're going to take to get to each point on the
Yes.
map, because it helps you read your map properly and it helps you know what your horse can do.
It's
Your
also
crew
nice.
knows where you are.
It's also a good indication, because if you get a checkpoint one and you know you're supposed to be going up, and suddenly you're going down.
That's the one on the wrong.
What I tend to do to, you know, if I'm sort of doing novice level ride or a pleasure ride, what I tend to do to make it very easy to work out is I tend to aim for about 10 kph, because it just makes it simple. If you're doing a 30k ride, it's going to
So,
take
yeah,
you 3 hours.
yes.
So then what I'll do is I'll divide the map approximately into 3 bits,
Yes.
and think each of those bits has got to take me about an
Yes.
hour.
That's what we tried
Yeah.
to do with the last one, I mean,
Yeah.
with a little ruler and things, just to have some idea.
Bit of string's the best
Yes.
thing.
Because
Bit of string or
yes.
thick thread. Just put
Yes.
a little mark on it
Just
and
to,
then you can
yes,
fill
to
it
have
round.
some idea roughly where we should
Yeah.
be at a rough, I mean, you can't, we couldn't tell how where it was.
Yes, Google Maps do it.
In the day of technology.
Your crew should be guiding you as well. You tell the rider to slow down, not that they ever take any notice.
Yes, they should. They should. The crew should be actually there all the time, shouldn't they? Because they've got time to look at it.
Yes, they
They've
should
got
be
time
there
to
in the
work
right
it.
place.
Yeah, right place.
Right time.
And you shouldn't have to knock on the window and wake them up.
I've never done
Which
that.
I've actually done. Yeah.
They do get a little bit upset when they've laid out a very nice picnic for the horse and rider though, and you go blasting past. No time!
So, out of interest, when you take the saddle off and wash the horse, do you dry the horse or just chuck the saddle straight back on?
It doesn't get dried as such. You get scraped, the water gets scraped off, and then there'll be a slight delay, you know, sort of 20 minutes or so before you put the saddle back on. So
Probably change
it's,
the number anyway.
yeah, you put a new dry number on bit like you putting clean socks on, it just feels nice.
Would you necessarily use a sheepskin underneath to absorb, or does that not make any difference?
I always use a sheepskin.
Yes, we use,
not everybody does.
Yes.
Everybody's horse is different, but I always use a sheepskin one.
So if you're going to go on like 4 bed gates, you're going to need 5 numbers.
Yes.
So you've got to have 5 numbers and about half a dozen different grades of ropes and copious amounts of water. You need a very big vehicle.
And lots of friends.
Lots of friends.
I'd love to hear your views, because I know I've made an error in the past. With my first endurance horse, she was doing a lot of different things before she came into endurance, and so she was quite well schooled and had done a variety of different activities, so her legs were fairly strong, one thing or another. With my second one, I was all keen and went straight into endurance and didn't school him very well, I have to admit. He was all on the forehand, and we did a lot of distance very quickly, and as a result he had recurrent issues on and off with his front legs. I would not like to do that with my new one. So how best to start a young horse without ruining its legs?
Well, I think flat work. Flat work.
We all at school all the time without.
Because you've got to go horse balance, because as it's going around the terrains, you know, the horse has got to use itself, and to get the horse to use it, you've got to develop its own frame, you've got to develop its different paces, and the best way to do it is in a manage or in a field, and put some poles out to make the horse pick its legs up, and distance poles with cavaliers up, and the horse can jump over it, and do a bit of lunging, do serpentine, so that the horse is balanced and supple and everything, and get on his back.
We still use an instructor as well. We have an instructor visits the menage that we use, and every week or a fortnight she'll give us a lesson, and we're constantly schooling the horse in that way, and then practice, try to practice what she's doing.
If you haven't got a menage,
you can do it now. You can do it while you're riding.
If you haven't got a menage, and I mean neither me or my horse like schooling, so but you can use the outside world just as well, because if you go over a bumpy track and you're teaching the horse to balance, and you do lots of half halts, lots of transitions, lots of transitions, because each time you do your transition you get that little lift at the front and get them back onto their hocks. So you can do it without, but everything you do just slowly, basically.
I think the old-fashioned wisdom that it takes about 4 years to make a distance horse is probably not far off the mark.
No, I would say that's about right. That's about right.
And even when you're out riding, you can swap your diagonals from corner to corner.
But I think it's that suppleness and that balance that you've got to get. You really got to get, and you can't do it quick. There's no quick way.
There's no shortcut to it. No shortcut.
You've got to do it nice and slowly. If you've got a nice potential youngster, you just got to say, right, well, this year I'm just going to enjoy myself on it, but by the end of this year he's going to be a lot more balanced, a lot more supple, he's going to be a lot more responsive, and then the year after say, well, let's try and do it a little bit more in a few competitive rides, let's just see if we can get to 12 or 15 kilometres an hour, and then do a little bit more distance. And if you don't do too much too soon, and the horse is ready for what you're doing, then you'll go on and on and on. But so many people, they do too much too soon, that's the horse is gone, isn't it? And you just don't see him anymore.
But you've got to condition the horse. I mean, the skeleton, the bones, they take a long time to put the extra strength together. So you just cannot rush that, and you've got to provide that little bit of stress, but not too much.
The balance,
and it's constantly reviewing what you're doing as well. Thinking, right, well, I've come back from that ride, have his legs come up, how was he? Was he tiring? Was he, and if it didn't quite work, think, right, well, okay, that sort of idea I had for this year might not be the right idea. Back a couple of steps, maybe work on some multi-days rather than trying to up the distance in one go.
That's it. You plan,
Yeah.
but you've got to plan with contingencies all the time.
Plans are bad.
You've got to plan.
You've got to plan.
You have to plan.
Obviously, you know, my objective is to get to there by September or whatever. But if in June or July it's not working, you just say, fair enough, there's a contingency. Like, instead of going there, let's go there. You know? And that's basically what you've got to try and do.
There's always next year.
Yeah, it's always next year. It's always next year. Because don't forget, they go on till they're 18, 20, you know, how old is
25.
25. You know, it's all, but you save them. That's not because you've done a lot early on, because if you've done a lot early on, they won't last that long. So, you know, you just got to say, well, if they're only 6, well, they can't, you know, they can't race ride until they're 7 anyway, but if they're 6, you think, well, you know, I've got another 12, 13 years on them, so there's no rush really, it's just a matter of progressing nice and slowly. And then when it gets to 7, 8, 9, you're there. If you take it slow enough, on it. It's basically slow, consolidate, slow, consolidate.
There's a lot to be said for doing a lot of pleasure rides, in fact a year of pleasure rides, because you've got no
Pressure.
No, you go in, you're trotting up, and that's it. You aren't worried. You monitor the heart rate, but it's not critical to get a grade or anything like that. As long as you're fit and sound at the end, and you're relaxed about it, and the horse relaxes about it, and you're just out there having a lot of fun, really.
Riding countryside, you'll never be.
You'll never go in. You're normally going, yeah.
What's one of the benefits of the sport? It's such a fantastic sport because you're going to ride areas that you've never ridden before. You've got no likelihood of riding before because they're all organised. Jenny's doing that on a couple of...
So what do you guys do in the winter then?
The winter?
I could only see once I go through the summer, that's why I'm asking, would you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Me personally, in October, the last ride in October, mid-October,
Yes.
I think that's all right, he's on holiday now. So what I do is I'm very unfortunate, I've got a 5 acres a little bit higher up, which is kind of 900 feet or something. So I take them up there, and if it's, you know, I rug them,
Yes.
take the shoes off, and I put them on holiday. And I leave them there till the 2nd week in January.
Okay, so they have a couple of
They
months
have a couple
completely
of
off.
months, just completely chilling.
And they don't lose too much condition, or?
No, it actually...
They don't, no.
Yeah.
They don't.
They probably recover
Yeah.
from...
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
And then I bring them back 2nd week in January, bring them back properly stabled and turn them out into a smaller area, you know, like that, Menard. And then gradually start to bring them back, and then gradually start taking them out hacking, and then I'll go to some early social rides, and then they're back again. But yeah, they need a break, don't they? They definitely need a break. Definitely need a break. It's mentally as well as physically.
Yes.
They need to be able to say, you know, I'm on holiday, like we all do. You know.
While you're going through the season and you're doing the longer rides, is there any sort of... I would think you're not going to go every weekend and do a 100k or something. Is there any sort of general rule that says I do this certain length of ride and I give them a week off, or do you have any sort of rules?
On a longer ride, I would basically give them a month. Absolutely nothing for like 10 days or a fortnight. You'll see after a ride them come back, and then I can start riding again or a walk. But a shorter rides I might leave a fortnight between.
And what do you class as a shorter ride?
40 miles.
Okay. I'm guilty of it. I'm 20 kilometres 2 weekends in a row.
But then Jenny's a lot higher up than
There's a lot of people that, you know, they go every week and do a competition or they do a pleasure ride, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's the difference is the speed and so on. So, you know,
if you're doing it, you know,
so if you're doing a 20k or 30k
That's
once a week,
fine.
that's acceptable.
Yeah.
I think the
Absolutely.
most I've ever done is 3 weekends in a row, and by the end of that 3rd weekend I was like, I need a weekend off. So it was as much for me as anything else.
Yeah.
There's another bit of old-fashioned wisdom that says to give them 1 day off for every 10 miles that you've ridden, which again has never done me too far wrong. So
that's it. And of course, don't forget you've got to take into consideration you've got to get there.
Yeah.
So
There's travelling time to think about.
That takes it out of them, you know, because as they're actually travelling, you say for each hour you've got to give it's like 10 miles. So if you've gone like to the end of the country, they've probably done 20, 30 miles before you get there. So
You've got to look at the whole,
Got to look
you know,
at the whole
the effort
process.
involved in the whole
If you're going to go for a big ride and it's a long way away, you get there the day before, you know, and then, you know,
That's why they're talking about state.
yes, you get a day before. I mean, for what it takes, I mean, you've got big distances there, and people might be coming from a long way away, which they do. So, you know, there's a facility there that you can come the day before, and the horse can like chill out, you know, have a bit of grass and just wander around and recover from its journey, and then, you know, do the actual competition and work the day after.
You've also got to take into account the rider.
Yeah. True.
It's as funny as it sounds, you know, the horse is doing a lot of work, but your body's doing a lot of work with it. And if it's been really hot and you've not taken care of yourself, you can take yourself 3 or 4 days to recover because you've put your body through quite a big ask. If it's a hilly terrain or it's a really hot day and you've not drunk beforehand and you've not taken care of yourself, there's no way you're getting back on that horse for at least 3 days anyhow.
Also bear in mind that if you are riding when you are tired, you're not riding as well as you might do.
And you put
You're
more
taking
strain
more
on the
out
horse.
on the horse,
Yeah.
Last thing he needs is you bobbling around.
Yes.
Which is absolutely right, because I mean, when you're riding, what you would have to constantly do, because you're out there a long time, you would constantly look down and say, well, am I in the middle? You know, am I in the middle? Because you'd be shooting around like this, and the saddle slip, you know, you've got to be aware of it and adjust it. So you've got to be totally aware, is that horse in the middle? It is, whatever, you know, totally. And you've also got to look after yourself, because the other horse has got to be hydrated as well, so.
That's so you forget more often
That's,
than yourself.
that's why your crew's got to be there to say, you know, not only the horse, but give you the drink at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, don't let the bucket, but give it some drink at the same time. Have you drunk, you know, to say, you know, bully them to drink it.
And a good crew will sit you down and force you to eat your pasta pot whether you want it or not.
It's very necessary though, because all the focus is on the horse and you forget to eat and drink yourself. You think, oh, I'm all right. But you really do have to concentrate.
Force yourself, you've got to force yourself to have a banana or something, you know, and drink. Even if you don't want to drink, you've still got to force yourself to drink. And then that way, you're on top of yourself when the horse is on top of yourself, so you can carry on.
It's like with the horse, by the time you're saying, I don't want something to eat, it's too late. Your muscles have already gone into the cramping stages and you've already started being too dehydrated. And then that, you then end up with a crew, with a rider that's got really antsy and less than helpful. Yes, in certain respects. And they'll just tell you to bugger off. And they've got really miserable and all the rest of it. And it's the rider then that certainly sucks the horse down because the rider's feeling the pain and the agony of it. Not that it's painful and agonising, but you've mentally you've lost it at that point, and your horse obviously feeds off you. So if you're then both going into this downward spiral, it's very, very difficult to get yourself back up, and it's mostly through the fact that you've not taken care of yourself. You can do everything for the horse, but if you've lost it yourself, the combination isn't going to work.
And then you've fallen out with your crew and the whole atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun.
And it's the end of a beautiful relationship.
But I mean, different horses are different in that respect as well, because I mean, my old guy, I mean, been absolutely blessed with him, because if I was tired, he'd just carry me around. And, you know, I just thought that was what it was like. But then when I started riding other horses, actually, they're feeding off you. And the minute you start thinking, oh God, this is really hard, I really don't want to be here, this is, you know, where's the end, they'll just go, well, if you don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. And
they'll switch off.
Yeah.
They'll switch